Hey guys, welcome back to the channel at Paradise on Pennies. So today I'm going to be bringing you a video about truck campers. We've been in ours for a little over 2 months now, living full-time on the road in it, and we have learned a ton since acquiring it. So I think I'm going to break this video into two, so it'll just be a whole bunch of question and answers that we first had when looking for one and purchasing one and now living in one, and now we have a lot of answers. So if you guys are looking at getting a truck camper, this video should be helpful for you guys. And after I watched both the videos, if you guys have any more questions that I didn't address, just make sure to put them in the comments and I will probably make another one in the future. So hope this is helpful for you guys. So when we started our research, pretty much every place that we went to was like, get the camper first, get the truck second, because it's a lot easier to find the camper that you want, and then the truck is just whatever will fit the camper. We did ours a little backwards, and we got our truck first, and we found a camper that fit the truck, which was a little more difficult, but it worked out in the long run. But finding a used one that fits your truck is definitely a little more difficult. But so if you know exactly what you want in a camper, find the camper first, and it'll make it a lot easier. Then the truck is just kind of, all trucks are pretty much going to be in the same category. So you just got to find one with the right bed length, bed height, and miles per gallon that you're looking for. It's a lot easier to find trucks around than truck campers. So when it comes to the truck, it depends on what kind of camper you're getting, how big a camper you want, how much weight it's going to be, how much stuff you want to bring with, where you plan on going with it. There's a lot to put into consideration when purchasing the truck. We just have the Silverado 1500. We didn't need anything too crazy powerful because our camper's actually really light and it's a pop-up. So, and we still wanted to be able to get onto the back road, so it's not. So when you start looking at truck campers, one of the main things that you will come across all the time is payload. You will have to learn what payload is, which is the amount that your truck is able to carry in the back. So most trucks will have a little sticker on the inside of the door that says how much payload your truck will be able to handle. And then on the back of the camper, there's actually a sticker that says how much the camper weighs dry and how much the camper weighs wet. So that's when you put all your fuel and your propane and your water and just yourselves and everything else in there, and that's how much it's going to weigh. So pretty much always go by the wet weight because you're always going to have stuff in there, so the dry weight really doesn't mean too much. But you will have to learn about payload. So again, it goes by what camper you get, depends on how much payload your truck is going to have. So in order to get the camper on the truck, that was one of the main questions that we had when we were first looking at them. It actually comes with little legs that go on the sides, and then they will extend the camper up higher than the truck bed. So you'll actually just back the truck up. I'll put a little video on here. You'll back the truck up underneath the truck camper, and then you'll lower the legs so then it sits on the truck, and then you can like just take the legs off completely like I did there, so they don't have to be dangling along the side. But they go up pretty high, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. It's not too difficult. So the camper does not perfectly fit into the bed. It will be pretty close, and again, depends on how you fit the camper with the truck, because older trucks have shorter or shallower beds, and now the newer trucks have the shorter beds, so you have to get one that fits your bed type. But otherwise, this camper is made for a 6.5 foot bed, and we got a 6.5 foot bed truck. So it fits pretty well. It just hangs over a little bit in the back here, as you can see there, but the tail lights are right there, so it's really not too much wasted space. And then when you get to the front, it's right up against the front of the truck there, so it's really not too much wasted space. But then there's a little bit of gap in between there. There's actually storage in between there, so you can store stuff in where the wheel well's at, because the wheel well will obviously the camper's not going to go over the wheel well, so it kind of just sits in between the wheel wells. So you have a little bit of extra storage space in there, which is nice. But as I said, this is an older camper, so it's actually made for shallower beds, and this is a newer truck. So we actually had to make like a little platform and bump up the camper about an inch so it wouldn't hit over here. And we also had to like cut these bolts off of here because it was actually gouging into the truck. So, and then you got your propane nozzles and everything in there too, so you don't want that to be rubbing, especially when you're hitting bumps and stuff. You don't want that to be rubbing while you're driving. So we had to chop those off a little bit, which we didn't really need the extra space right now, I guess, since I cut the bolts off, but it's just a safety measure, so if we're hitting bumps, it's not gouging into the truck all the time. That is also another big question that we had when we were first looking at it, is how are these going to stay on? Some of the older ones had different tie-down systems than the newer systems, and they seemed a little sketchier. So when we first bought this, the people we bought it from, they actually had the older tie-down system, so it didn't work as well. And the first drive was pretty sketchy. But so they have ones that are called pocket tie-downs that like go into the little pockets right there in the truck, and they just come down to about here. And then they have a little turnbuckle that goes from here to the bolt of the camper, and that's what holds it on. But this actually isn't attached really to the truck, so it's like if this moves, then the whole camper moves. So it seemed really sketchy to us. So we actually got the torque lift tie downs. So these ones are these. I got a video on those on how to install them if you want to check that one out too. But it actually attaches to the frame underneath the truck, so it's actually part of the truck. And then you will have your turnbuckle, or however you want to attach it. So I just have a littler turnbuckle, and then you just have a chain, and then you can put this rubber on it if you want to protect it from bounce. But that seems to work pretty good. They also make the like the longer turnbuckles that go like all the way down to the ground, but those are like $100 for I think 2 of them. And then they also have quick release ones that you can get that have like a handle up here that you can just pop off and take it off. But we never take our camper off, so we never really have to worry about it. And we just started with these, and we were thinking we were going to go to the other turnbuckles, but we haven't had any issues yet. We've been on some pretty bumpy roads, so no issues so far. And then they also have ones called Happy Jacks that attach like up in here, but again, it doesn't really attach to the frame of the truck. So this is going to be your best. As for jacks, I have a video of us when we first put it on, so I'll just put that up here. Because I have them underneath in the wheel well right now, so I'm not going to get them out. But they just attach right here, and it'll go down. And you'll have a little hand crank. You can either hand crank it, or you have the drill attachment, so you can drill it. But we don't carry a drill with us, so I just have the hand crank. But you'll have a little tripod down on the ground, and then it'll jack the truck or jack the camper up. So then when the camper's jacked up, then you can just unhook your turnbuckles and drive off. They do make mechanical or electronic ones now that you can just hook up, and then you can press a button and it does it automatically. They're obviously really expensive, and if they break, they're even more expensive. But we don't plan on taking our camper off for a long time, so we just don't worry about having to get the fancy ones. We'll just stick with the old ones for now. So tie downs I went over kind of in one of the other clips, but I'll kind of go over it again here. So it doesn't really matter what kind you get. I guess it depends on how heavy your camper is and where you plan on going with it. We just did a simple turnbuckle that you can get at any like Home Depot, Lowe's, and then you just attach to it a chain, and then it attaches down there. It's been working fantastic, and we've been going on bumpy roads and been in really windy conditions. We were over in Texas, and it was like 75-mile-an-hour gusts going into the wind, and we didn't have any issues at all. I can barely feel it. It doesn't rock really at all. So it's been good. They do make the other turnbuckles, as I said, the longer ones that go all the way to the bottom. And then they make the quick release ones that you can just pop off. I was going to get one of the quick release ones actually just for the gas tank, because on the other side, this is right in front of the gas tank. So every time I have to get gas, I have to take this off. And which actually hasn't been that big of a deal, because at first I over-tightened these, and they kind of stripped the threads, so it like fell off. So now I learned you don't really need to tighten it too much. You just hand tighten it and it'll be all right, because tight is tight, so it's not going to go anywhere. So now I can just unloosen it by hand and then fill the tank up, so it's not that big of a deal anymore.